Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. So I want to do a much shorter read through of the 8-page bogus confession letter from Brian Laundrie. I've seen there are a couple of really long live streams for those who want to just see the letter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all 8 pages, and then I'm going to take you through all 8 pages, and hopefully we can do all of that within about 5 minutes. So without any further ado, here they are, pages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the 8th page. Before we get to the read through, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do like, share, leave a comment, and let's get started. And so the 8-page confession note, which I think is better titled A Bogus Confession, reads as follows. Page 1, Gabby. I wish I was right at your side. I wish I could be talking to you right now. I'd be going through every emotion we made, getting even more excited for the future. But we lost our future. I can't live without you. I've lost every day we could have spent together, every holiday. I'll never get to play with Illegible again, never go hiking with TJ. I loved you more than anything. I can't bear to look at our photos to recall great times, because it is why I cannot go on. When I close my eyes, I think of laughing on the roof of the van, falling asleep to the sight of meteors at the Crystal Geyser. I will always love you. Page 2. If you were reading Gab's journal, looking at photos from our life together, flipping through old cards, you wouldn't want to live a day without her. Knowing that every day you'll wake up without her, you wouldn't want to wake up. I'm sorry to everyone this will affect. Gabby was the love of my life, but I know adored by many. I'm so very sorry to her family because I love them. I'd consider her younger siblings my best of friends. I'm sorry to my family. This is a shock to them as well as a terrible grief. Page 3. They loved as much, if not more than me, a new daughter to my mother, an aunt to my nephews. Please do not make this harder for them. This occurred as an unexpected tragedy. Rushing back to our car, trying to cross the streams of Spread Creek before it got too dark to see, too cold. I hear a splash and a scream. I could barely see. I couldn't find her for a moment, shouted her name. I found her breathing heavily, gasping. She was freezing cold. The blazing hot national parks in Utah. Now we're on to page 4. The temperature had dropped to freezing and she was soaking wet. I carried her as far as I could from the stream toward the car, stumbling, exhausted in shock, when my illegible and knew I couldn't safely carry her. I started a fire and spooned her as close to the heat. She was so thin, had already been freezing too long. I couldn't at the time realize that I should have started a fire first, but I wanted her out of the cold back to the car. From where I started the fire, I had no idea how far the car might be, only knew it was across the creek. Page 5. When I pulled Gabby out of the water, she couldn't tell me what hurt. She had a small bump on her forehead that eventually got larger. Her feet hurt, her wrist hurt, but she was freezing, shaking violently. While carrying her, she continually made sounds of pain. Laying next to her, she said little, lapsing between violent shakes, gasping in pain, begging for an end to her pain. She would fall asleep and I would shake her awake, fearing she shouldn't close her eyes if she had a concussion. Page 6. She would wake in pain, start her whole painful cycle again. Furious that I was the one waking her, she wouldn't let me try to cross the creek, thought like me that the fire would go out in her sleep and she'd freeze. I don't know the extent of Gabby's injuries, only that she was in extreme pain. I ended her life. I thought it was merciful, that is what she wanted. But I see now all the mistakes I made. I panicked. I was in shock. But from the moment I decided, took away her pain, I knew I couldn't go on without her. Page 7. I rushed home to spend any time I had left with my family. I wanted to drive north and let James or TJ kill me, but I wouldn't want them to spend time in jail over my mistake, even though I'm sure they would have liked to. I am ending my life not because of a fear of punishment, but rather because I can't stand to live another day without her. I've lost our whole future together, every moment we could have shared. I'm sorry for everyone's loss. Please do not make life harder for my family. They lost a son and a daughter. The most wonderful girl in the world. Gabby, I'm sorry. Page 8. I have killed myself by this creek in the hopes that animals may tear me apart, that it may make some of her family happy. Please pick up all of my things. Gabby hated people who litter.